Malls didn't just die, they were replaced. When was the last time you actually went into the mall? Not just to grab one thing and walk out, but I mean really spend some time there. Walk around, window shop, check out the food court, grab a meal, things like that. Because there was a time where the mall wasn't just a place to shop, it was the place to be. And now, most of them feel empty. I think you've noticed. But the strange part is, they didn't just die overnight, they faded pretty slowly. And most people didn't even know that it was happening while it was happening. Salutations, good people. I'm Josh, and this is Behind the Culture. Now, during what I'm going to call the golden age, malls were absolutely packed. On the weekends, forget about parking. It was really hard to find an empty space. You had food courts buzzing, teenagers shopping, parents kind of hanging around, maybe doing a little shopping of their own, but mostly keeping an eye on their teenagers, if they were even there, keeping an eye on their teenagers. It was a different time. And overall, people just wandering. And that's the key. People didn't just go to the mall to buy things. They went to actually be there and experience the atmosphere and the environment. If you had nothing to do, the mall was the go-to place. It was first dates, being there just to be there, hanging out after school, walking laps with no real destination in mind, meeting friends, window shopping with zero money to spend. The mall was, in a sense, social media before social media really even existed. Maybe a little MySpace if you're someone my age. But malls were still big. You saw people. You were seen. And for the brands that were in these malls, they needed the malls. If you were Nike, Gap, Abercrombie & Fitch, Hollister, Aeropostale, Sears, JCPenney, if you were these brands, you didn't exist without a physical presence. The mall was the center of everything. So what happened? Now, when talking about the first cracks and where the malls really started to lose popularity and kind of come undone, your first thought might be Amazon. But that wasn't where it started. Big box stores, which we've always had, like Walmart, Target, Best Buy, they started doing something that malls just simply couldn't. They had everything in one place. No wandering, no walking around aimlessly, no food courts to be distracted by. Just go in, get what you need, and leave. And people really liked that. Then came something even bigger. The internet happened. Now, it's important to note, I'm talking about the trend of malls dating back to the 70s, 80s, and early to mid 90s. So this is a bit of a history lesson, not just the past 15, 20 years. And at first, the internet, it didn't just kill malls. It just slowly chipped away at them. People started thinking, I can just order this instead. And that thought was the beginning of the eventual end, if you want to say malls have came to an end. Just think about it. If you were too young to drive a car, you most likely needed your parents. And for parents who have worked all week, that was going to be a little more hassle on the weekend instead of recovering from your past work week and getting ready for the work week ahead. And then when they found the internet had a plethora of marketplaces to just order and have things shipped to the house within a matter of a week, sometimes a couple days, that really changed things. Then came the dreaded Amazon. Don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Amazon fan. I don't know a ton of people who aren't Amazon fans and the convenience that they provide. However, this is really where things changed. Because now it wasn't just, I can order this online. It became, I can get this delivered fast, cheap, and right to my doorstep. And all of a sudden, you had no parking, no crowds, no lines, no awkward small talk with cashiers.
Why are you talking like that?
Why are you talking like that?
Because this is my voice?
This is my voice.
No walking past stores you really have no interest in going in to begin with. Just click, buy, and then you're done. And malls, they just weren't built for that. They were built for foot traffic, impulse buying, and a place just to spend some time. As the world has gotten busier over the past anywhere from 5 to 20, 25 years, whatever life looks like for you, we all have less time. And that's when stores started leaving and backing out of malls. Brands no longer really needed malls. First, the small ones, then the big brands, the anchor stores that really were the backbone and the glue of the malls. And once those big stores left, that's when everything around them started collapsing too. Because malls rely on one thing, and one thing only: people. And with no people, malls don't exist. But no longer did you have to go to a mall to connect with people. It became easy to connect with people from the palm of your hand. Social media slowly replaced that human interaction by not actually meeting in person. And whether you agree with this or not, it's just the trend that happened. And that's where it really gets interesting. Because while Amazon and bigger stores like Best Buy, things like that, already having a marketplace to go to online, that's not entirely the whole reason that people stopped going to malls. People just didn't need them anymore. They stopped needing a place to go. Think about it for a second. Everything that the mall offered, shopping, you can now do online. Food, well, now you can have it delivered to your doorstep. Like I mentioned earlier with socializing, social media kind of replaced that. Entertainment, if your mall had some kind of local theater with the bigger malls, now we've got streaming. You literally don't have to leave your house for just about anything except to go to work, if you've even got an in-person job. The mall used to be a literal hub for life and socializing. Now, you've got your phone. That's the new hub. We didn't just stop going to malls, we replaced them with something more convenient, with something faster.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
And while you might be someone who enjoyed that experience and missed those days, we have ourselves as a society to honestly blame for that. We dove into these alternate methods of living life and connecting with people and eating and being entertained. And the interesting twist in all this is malls didn't just totally disappear, they shifted a bit. Some turn into luxury shopping experiences, outdoor lifestyle centers, entertainment complexes. Some even shifted to mixed-use areas and developments with apartments. And the sad news is some still exist, but they kind of just sit there, not super duper occupied. They're empty, quiet, a little eerie if we're being honest, almost like a liminal space, a backroom vibe, if you will. Places that used to be full of life now could probably make a pretty solid echo if you screamed into one of them. But what replaced them wasn't just one of these things, it was all of them combined. For example, I live in upstate South Carolina. I used to live in a place called Anderson. Well, Anderson had a mall. It wasn't the biggest mall, but it was a nice place to go hang out. It had all of the bigger name stores. It just didn't have a ton of space to accommodate everything that you could get if you drove about 30 to 40 minutes to Greenville, South Carolina, where there's a much bigger mall with escalators and many more stores. That felt like a really solid place that if you wanted to hang out, you could stay entertained just by making laps inside the whole complex. And because the mall wasn't just a place to go shop, it was a place to just go and be. And now, we don't really go the same way we used to anymore. At least not the majority of our population. We scroll, we click, we purchase, and we stay home. So malls didn't necessarily die, they were replaced. And most of us, myself included, didn't even realize it was happening. I wasn't someone who went to the mall a ton, but the last time or two I went, I noticed a huge shift and a huge change in foot traffic and the amount of stores that were available. And more than that, the amount of stores who had those gates just shut down on many different places where businesses used to be. Dare I say, it could be one reason GameStop isn't exactly flourishing. Myself included, I would love to go to the mall and shop for a new video game. It was just a really cool place to go pick up a new game. And I wouldn't say malls are totally dead. There's still malls open. There's still malls that get a decent amount of foot traffic and people who still love that experience, just like with theaters. And if you'd like to check out my video on why the movie theaters aren't exactly what they used to be and why some might say they're dying, check out this video I've attached here. And if you want to stay behind the culture, make sure you hit subscribe, hit the like button, and stay tuned for future videos. And until next time, I've been Josh with Behind the Culture, reminding you to work hard, be kind, and do enjoy yourselves.